Welcome to Audio Carnage Podcast. We have Posival today. Guys, thanks so much for coming in. Appreciate y'all's patience with the technical difficulties. So, from my right, go ahead and say who you are and what you do in the band, just for people who may have only been listening.
Okay, my name's Michael Zamora. I'm the guitar player, singer.
Clint Watson, the bass player and backing vocals.
Ben Bono, drummer, secretary.
And all the things that come with that. So, when did this band originally form? And then I know that this is a very new iteration of this band. But when did you start playing this like line of songs?
So this line of songs, because I split the band, I guess, into two phases. But like I released a bunch of demo albums that I really wasn't proud of, so I kept them, but I just like you can't like find it online or anything.
Yeah, you gotta be ashamed of your first couple projects.
It's your origin story.
Yeah, like
Yeah, exactly. So I like was starting to really like focus on like what I wanted the band to sound like, because I had a lot of influences and I kind of narrowed down to like what works limiting wise with my abilities and how much time I want to dedicate to music and just kind of what I wanted it to sound like. And I spent like a good 2 years not doing anything for this project, and I played bass in another band called the Delzells, and played in that band for like 3 years, and it was a lot of fun. And I think like the last year of that band, I had started to kind of reanalyze my own songwriting process, because I learned like what my limits were in that band, and it was a really fun collaborative band. And so once I kind of figured out like what I would want this project to sound like, I wrote an entirely new batch of songs. It took me about a year. And I used a bunch of old songs that I had never actually like put on anything that was released before, and it just invested some money. Tried to like I really figured out like how to save money and spend it on recording time at like nice studios, because I was really trying to figure out how well it would sound if I like had someone else deal with it and not try to do it myself. You know.
Well, also an engineer is an artist in themselves. And so it's like, just like your drummer brings in the fills and your bassist brings in bass lines. An engineer that you work with, they have a sound, and that's why you have your Rick Rubins of the world. Like there's a quality that comes from having somebody who's outside being like, no, this sounds better for what y'all are doing. Because you got to have somebody outside listening as a fan.
Exactly.
And sometimes you as much as you want to do it, you can't. Like, and I might be handling all the like tracking of everything, but I'm for my metal project, but we're sending everything. I don't want to mix it at all because I'm too close to it. I'll spend 5 hours on the kick sound and then not be satisfied with it.
Right, yeah. And see, a lot of the demos I released, I was trying to do it myself, and I was not happy with it, obviously. And I realized that like I really didn't care that much to dedicate all that time into sound engineering. I've always liked the idea of it, but I've never actually like gotten
I love doing it, but I don't like doing it for myself.
Really?
I like that I learned, because now whenever I songwrite, I can compose songs very quickly, but like I much rather... especially like my band, I haven't tracked any bass parts too, and my drummer like is mad at me. Though we still are working on other things. We're not done, and it's not technically my turn. It's just a matter of like, as I've told them, I'm in like the engineering phase, and then my brain can't even click into the creative phase. Like if I was to like track anything, it would just be scratch stuff to get through, and then I'd come back whenever I'm done dealing with all their stuff, and actually the creative part of my brain works. Because the way I see it is the engineering stuff is like the logistical side of my brain,
right?
And then like the songwriting is the other side of my brain. And sometimes like I like being in this specific mode, especially whenever we're trying to finish a project. That way everything comes out with a consistent quality.
Right. Yeah.
But so what year would you say that you started with this phase of these songs?
This was 2019.
And when did y'all get together?
Oh man, like 4 years ago. Right?
Yeah, he actually.
What is that? 2018.
I knew him.
I think it's like 4 years this month, actually.
Yeah. I knew him for about a year before he joined the band. I think, right? Like, or no. It was just a couple of months actually.
Yeah, we met at Jazz Fest.
Yeah, that's right. It was okay.
Oh, I'm so happy that's coming up.
Yeah. That's right, because the only show you missed in 2019 was the one. It was the album release. That was the only one you didn't play.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay, makes sense. Okay.
And so, how long have y'all known each other? I know that you are very recent to the addition to the band.
Yeah, my band called Authors of the Air played a show with Posival. When we did that, it was at the Atlas Island grand opening.
Right. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, we
when
did
was
it.
this?
This was March. I think.
Of this year?
Yeah, we like kind of just like we realized we had like crossed paths before and started a really good friendship between the bands, and then our bands played more, and then he needed a drummer for.
When was the first time y'all played together?
It was at
like actually in a project.
Yeah,
it was at the end of our tour.
It was actually my drummer's first gig with us, with my band.
That's right. Okay.
That was a good.
What do you play in your band?
Sing, songwrite,
Okay, gotcha.
guitar as well.
Nice. So what would you say some of your influences that you try to bring for this specific project, and then also the side question, of course, what's some of your like big personal influences? So for this project, what do you think?
So for this project, I think I have like a couple of main influences for the project, and obviously it kind of lines up with my favorite kind of music that I listen to. But and then I have a couple of other bands that I really like that I think influence the project in kind of subtle ways. But so probably like my biggest influence was Nirvana, as a young lad, you know. But I also was really into Green Day, and I remember like the Dookie album was actually the first CD I ever bought.
Dookie was the shit.
And my
That was a great album.
mom found out it had cuss words on it.
and
I was like 10, and she like threw it away and got me a green CD. Yeah, it was kind of funny. But so those two bands very heavily influenced by them. But I'm also really into a band called Modern Baseball, which is an emo band. And they wrote really catchy songs that I still appreciate, even like almost 10 years now. And they released their, like, my favorite album of theirs was released in 2012, and it was like the year I graduated, like a year after I'd gotten out of high school, because I graduated in 2012, so it was very impressionable to me. But so there's that band, and then I'm also really into Fiddler. Pavement is a huge influence into this band. Like, I gotta be honest, I love all of their music. Even like Steven's like solo project stuff that he has out are really cool. My favorite like song off of his solo project stuff is a song called Lariat, and it's such an interesting like instrumental part of a song, but the lyrics, I mean, he has such great lyrical play. It's so fun to listen to. But
what about for you? For this band specifically, and then also for just in general?
That's a tough one, because I listen to like a whole different genre of stuff.
And that's fine.
But if I pick anything, I have like a lot of like the Ramones. I mean, that's my biggest punk influence.
Then what about some of your just general influences outside of this band?
Okay, so I listen to a lot of folk and indie music. Iron and Wine. I love Jeff Buckley. Big influence vocally on me. And there's a ton. I'm drawing a blank.
It happens. The deer in the headlights.
In high school, I became like a huge fan of Black Flag and Dead Kennedys. That was like it's very much comes through in this band a lot too. But.
My influences for them is listening to them. I listen to their recorded music, and I just ever since the first time we all listened to them, I remember like everyone of my friends around me, we were just like, look at each other like, oh my god, this is amazing. And when the first time we played together, it was like 18 song set, so I just kind of like listened, and I listened to it for like a month, and I was just like, dude, I love this. So really, my influence for them is to try to like find what there were in terms of drums, like find what they had and then just recreate that, you know.
Is that Aiden? From what y'all had?
Yeah, Aiden was in the band before.
Great job.
Any other drummers that you had?
So many.
Okay, what would you say is the primary ones, not like not the filling ones?
Yeah, definitely Cameron Sather, Aiden Olnettle, Will Huber is his name.
Yeah.
Will Huber is our he's going to be recording with us on our next album. Colin Smith, he was in the band for a good 3 months, and Nuno Razzo was actually the founding member of this band. He drums for a band called Kyoto Lo-Fi.
Oh yeah,
I love them.
Yeah.
Dom from
I went to high school with his brother, and so we lived
Dom
in
from
the same
Spanish
city.
could speaks very highly of them. I've seen him at like a show or something. I've reached out to him about the podcast. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Scheduling is difficult with a lot of the bands, especially now that some of them are no longer in Denton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, what's your favorite local venue? Like, it could be a live or dead.
Oh, okay. I think I have to choose a dead one.
That's fine.
Um,
Abbey Underground's a very common mention.
There was I'm actually gonna choose kind of a weird venue, but it's no longer. It doesn't exist. It hasn't existed for a long time. But in Fort Worth, there was a venue called The Cellar, and it was in such a weird spot near TCU, and like in Fort Worth, and I remember going there, and they had this like really tiny walkway, and like the stage was up in like a back room, and the bar was in like a basement type thing. And so, like, you would walk up, and the venue was just, like, really dingy and, like, just all brick. And it was a cool place. But
So it felt like transported when you were there.
yeah, it was really strange. But I think it was, like, 20...
It's kind of like loading in at J&J's.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
You're like, as soon as you pull in there, it's like, oh, this place. I miss the smell of the dough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be building a St. James's Pizza up in Gainesville, and it'd be the same recipes and stuff, so I'm really hoping that happens.
Nice.
Just because I miss the pizza so much.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Favorite venue?
I think sound quality and stage wise, Six Springs Tavern in Richardson has a big stage and great sound.
Nice.
Dude, Maine at Southside, even though they just announced their closing. Their
Yeah.
sound guy, Mark Randall, is like the god of sound guys.
Yeah, I played there once with my metal band.
That's a
That
good
was
place.
Just great stage, great place. They have a record store in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
I mean, lots of venues are. I mean, shit, we could name so many that are dead, like Curtain Club, fucking The Door, fucking Fat Daddies. The list goes on. And then let's not even get into the list of house venues that have come and went.
Yeah.
That's a long list.
That's an even longer list.
So, favorite local band?
Favorite local band?
Can't be one you're involved with.
Probably a band called Cliffs. I don't know if you've ever heard of a band called Death Ray Davies, but they're a band from like early 2000s, and they actually got pretty popular. They were from Dallas, and they hit like a pretty cool like wave. I learned about them through my friend Justin, who is the singer of the Delzells. He kind of told me about them, and I don't know like much about their band, but I really like their music. But the lead singer of that band started Cliffs, and that's my favorite like current local band that still exists, and and he's like the frontman of that other band, Death Ray Davies. So
it's a kind of a mix. I like Diesel Beast is pretty awesome.
Carrick used to live here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Rod of Obsidian was pretty
Oh yeah,
awesome.
I'm trying to get
I
Rod
remember
on the podcast, but unfortunately, with their vocalist health issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he's had a comeback or not.
I like your band too. Yeah, man, it's cool.
Yeah, there's some really good acts in the area.
Oh man, dude. Probably favorite right now is a band called Said the People. Just incredible, dude. Incredible energy. A band called Stonehaven's really good. I really like Vanilla and Pepper. Big Heaven. Celestial Amour. Man, there's a lot of talent around here.
Oh yes, that is one thing that I love about being in this area. If I'm gonna be trapped in the desolate area that is Texas, at least we're not desolate on fucking musicians.
Yeah,
There's so much talent here. So what's the best concert you've ever been to?
like ever.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
in
like
general?
your best big concert, like.
Okay. You go first. I gotta think about this.
Man.
I got one.
Right.
311 and Sublime with Rome. 311 was my shit back then, my favorite band. And we had we weren't in the lawn, but it was at Jexa, and we had the
going to Jexa this next week.
So it was the pit and the first little row and the second row, then the lawn. We were at the front of the second row, and I was dancing so hard when 311 came on. So the security lady was like, "You down now?" And I was like, "Oh no!" And I just I didn't care. I danced down there. She was like, "You're having so much fun. We have a lot of seats in the front row. Like, come on!" And I was like, "Oh my god!" So I got front row. I had 5 seats, so I was dancing in between them all. I had a blast, man.
That's a wholesome experience.
It was amazing.
Normally, oh, we get in trouble. No. She was like, we want you to hype the shit.
I was.
Mine is I got to see Tom Petty.
Oh, nice.
So
I know.
that's pretty awesome.
I know mine.
Yeah, that's
wow.
Yeah. Okay. Mine is Parquet Courts. Do you know who Parquet Courts is? So they're actually from Denton, at least some of the members, but they're a band in New York, and I listened to their old band, which is called Teenage Cool Kids, and just fell in love with that album after I had already learned who Parquet Courts was through a friend of mine that I worked with. It was my first job, which is kind of cool. They came to town, and I think they played Sons of Herman Hall in Dallas, and I went with all the band members in the Delzels, because we were all fans of them, and it was a lot of fun. It was so cool.
Oh, where'd you see him?
Sons of Herman Hall in Dallas.
I've never been there.
Really?
No, where'd you see Tom Petty?
The Dos Equis Pavilion.
Oh, yeah.
Jeezy
I've seen
Pop's
so many
there
bands
too,
there.
so.
I'm going to see Slipknot for the 100th time.
I saw them a couple months ago.
On what is it? The 28th of this month. I'm looking forward to it. That's gonna be fun.
They put on a good show.
Yes, they do. What was the first song that we heard?
That was Barcelona Drive.
How old is it?
That song I actually wrote with the Delzels at the time. I was playing bass in that band, so I wrote the bass riff, and then I ended up writing the rest of the song just on bass. But that song was probably started to be written in 2018, maybe 2017, somewhere around there.
Okay.
And then I held on to it for quite a while, and then we used it for Regression of the Mean, so I think it was I wrote it almost 4 years before it was actually in the album.
What's song 2 that we're about to hear?
The
Song 2 that we're about to hear.
Song 2 is Concrete Sidewalk Belly Flop. That song's probably that's probably about 2 years old now.
Anything of note about either of those?
So Virginia is her name. She recorded and mixed the album, and she is a musician that lives in Nashville now. But she recorded it in Austin at a studio called the Recording Conservatory, and I don't know if it still exists, but it was a really cool place, and it was on the side of a cliff in Austin, so we could see outside the studio. Yeah, but it was a really awesome experience. We did it in 2 days, and she was great. We just set up, played live. She listened to what I wanted for it, and was really good about communicating at the end of it, just mixing it the way we wanted it, and it came out awesome. I really love it. So.
Nice. Mm-hmm. So that was, say it for me because otherwise I'm gonna forget it.
The album.
Yeah, the song.
The song, Concrete Sidewalk Belly Flop.
Concrete Sidewalk Belly Flop. All right, we'll be right back.
No one ever got out. song, I guess. Time to wander off and find so damn bored, I think. Nothing fills a void within us. What are you gonna do? Time moves on, it doesn't care what you do. It's time to repeat myself, so everyone can follow us. I don't wanna see this out again. Not it out, it's out again. Not it out, it's out again. It's out the devil be. No, I don't wanna see this out again. Not it out, it's out again. Not it out, it's out again. It's out the devil be.
Welcome back to Audio Carnage Podcast. You just heard Concrete Sidewalk Belly Flop. We're still here with Posival. So, guys, what is your dream venue? Madison Square Garden and Red Rocks have been used a lot.
I didn't even know Red Rocks existed until recently, and that would be a really fun one.
Yes, it would.
Yeah, I
That would be
agree
a
with
really
that.
fun one.
I've always wanted to play the Gorge. I used to be a big Dave Matthews fan, and he always played the Gorge like every year as a big famous show, and just the scenery around it was awesome.
That'd be a good one. I haven't had that put on the list before.
Nice.
Also, the International Space Station would be really cool to play at.
Man, playing in Z. How would you play it? Oh, you'd have to have. You'd have to have. Well, you'd have to go Joey Jordison and have a harness and your drums be mounted
It
down.
would probably sound terrible, but it'd be an experience for show.
Well, no. In space, no one can hear you drum. Dude, honestly, if you, I don't know, you might be able to get great tones in there.
Maybe
Or
the
me.
Whiskey A Go Go. That
Yeah.
would be a
Yeah,
really
there you
cool venue to play at, actually.
Yeah.
And I hear it's small, so like
yeah,
it's
I
not
mean-
what you think. Like,
Well,
it's, you know,
a
it's
lot
just
of
a really
those,
iconic venue.
a lot of those like iconic venues weren't anything compared to those mega venues like that we're used to. Like how many people you've seen packed in like Dos Equis or Jexo, whatever it's called now.
Yeah.
Like it's just like. You think that many people could fit in CBGB? No!
No way.
No!
No way.
No, God no. Any other that you want to add to the dream venue list? No?
But maybe CBGB's, now that you mentioned
Yeah,
it.
fair enough.
Redbox always been on that list, but you know it is on everyone's list for a reason.
What's some of your favorite non-musical content to consume, whether it be books, movies, video games, any form of media outside of this?
Definitely books for
Books?
me.
What kind of books? Like, what's some of your favorite books?
Well, typically just history books. I really read a lot of history books. I do get into fiction sometimes, but I have a tendency to
Do you have a favorite book?
yeah. My favorite book is called Man and His Symbols by Carl Jung. And Carl Jung has a really interesting theory about the subconscious, and so it's like technically like still a nonfiction book, but it's a very deep theory because Carl Jung studied with Sigmund Freud. So
okay.
But his theory about the subconscious, and particularly dreams, is that our subconscious could have potentially been passed down to us from generations and generations, because a lot of the symbols that appear in our dreams are symbols that have appeared cross-culturally across throughout history.
Yeah.
And so his theory is that sometimes these very archaic forms of communication can happen subconsciously from potentially your ancestors, that they could be showing you symbols that are supposed to mean something, or certain creatures that appear, or mythical creatures in some cultures that have existed. And so it was really interesting. And in this book, it was actually written after he died by all of his colleagues. They compiled this theory that he had been working on, and they tried to in a way use all of his writings to make the argument that he was trying to make. And it's just a really dense book that has a lot of strong symbolic explanations, which is really interesting. It's things I've never even thought of, and so it was a very enriching book, and I want to read it again because I only read it once and I feel like I didn't get all of the things I needed to get from it.
I feel sometimes that is the way it is with any book. If you go back and reread something as simple as Harry Potter as an adult, you're gonna have a whole different worldview of it. What about y'all? Favorite media to consume outside of music?
I love movies.
Favorite movies. I mean, some of them.
Anything horror, really. My favorite horror though is definitely It.
Oh yeah, good one.
Original.
You should take a look at that shelf if you haven't already. Before you leave, there's Jake, the dude with the posters, has a lot of good classic horror.
Nice. Yeah, I'm definitely a horror buff.
Same. I like to. I know some people might think this is weird, and I don't care because I love it. But it's on YouTube. There's all these narrators that will find true scary stories, and I just love it.
Well, sometimes I love a good creepypasta or something to unwind. It's I don't know why, it just makes me feel nice and snug in my bed.
I don't know what it is, but it's cool.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. My favorite of those that I've recently stumbled upon is there's a podcast series called SCP Archives. And do y'all know what the SCP Foundation is?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's basically this fictional foundation that the internet has created together. That's it's a multinational response force to supernatural, out of the norm, the first one that I got that got me into it was about an IKEA, that some people, not everybody, but some people that walked past the stores went into a liminal space of an infinite IKEA, and it has so many. It's so infinite that there's colonies of thousands of people that are taken up because for some reason the meatballs and the food section gets stocked, so there's no wars and there's resources, but the only issue is that there's these amorphic fucking IKEA workers that have no faces, elongated limbs and stuff. During the day, they're completely docile unless you fuck with them. But at night, they try to rip.
This?
The SCP. Well, what it comes down to is the podcast ends up being a military debriefing about sometimes you get doctors first-hand account, you get the IKEA one, they have a first-hand account from a guy's diary who he made it to the exit. Sometimes the exit appears and then disappears, so some people do get out, but basically the foundation has found found this thing and contained it, so that way the general protect. That's what SCP stands for: secure, contain, protect. And
wow.
they have like all sorts of anomalies. Like there's one.
And
called,
this is a book? Or
no, it's a podcast series.
It's
also,
a podcast.
Well, also
series.
it's an internet rabbit hole that has like a whole like they have treated like a whole internet like archive where you can go through and like it looks like a fucking FBI data style database where it has all the information about all the different fucking SCPs. There's one called like the Shy Guy that it's fine to look at from any other angle, but if you see its face, there's nothing that can stop it from getting to you. It will rip through fucking steel, concrete, just rip through it to fucking like tear you apart, and then it goes back to docile.
I'm confused.
well, like that's the thing is they handle all types of anomalies.
So they just document.
Yeah, well, yet again, this is about a fictional organization that like deals with them. They have a class of like they have like a class of like one that's like of gods. Like they found this like thing that's like in the ocean. It's like such a leviathan that we thought it was a continent. No, it's a fucking sleeping
so
animal.
is this just like an interactive like
it is like
story?
Well, it's like it's like a bunch of people on the internet who created like a collection of stories. And the thing that I'm talking about is on Spotify. It's
the
podcast. They like
about
that has made. But you can also if you like reading and stuff, like you might like the actual SVP archives on the actual internet that actually has like it feels like you're going through a government agency kind of thing. But it's like a bunch like anybody will like a creepypasta writer essentially writes the narration. But like they have made it like this whole organization that deals with all these different things.
That's cool.
They're so fucking. The IKEA one is a great one to get into because you're just like, this is really weird. But then they have like the one I just like the Leviathan one. They're concerned about it because it's so big that if it wakes up and starts moving, they have to figure out a way to like put it to keep it asleep because if it starts moving, it'll create tectonic forces that will just rip apart the fucking planet. Like it's part of the fucking. Like essentially, it's like a fucking animal that is actually in space, and our planet formed on it.
That's cool.
And so they have to like find its gills and like give it like super doses of like fucking fentanyl essentially to keep it asleep.
Damn.
But like and they go over and what you're hearing is the military style debriefing of it. So that's a fun little thing.
That sounds like it would be funny.
Yeah, the podcasts are really entertaining, but the websites are like if you like doing the deep dive kind of clicking. Oh my god, this is so cool. So what is your favorite alcohol?
Favorite alcohol?
If you drink.
Probably like
I know y'all do because
cheap. Probably Corona or Modelo. But if I were gonna spend some money, probably the new alcohol I just found called 8. So.
Rye whiskey all the way.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Casamigos and Añejo tequila, just neat.
Oh, tequila. Cannot go wrong with that. Okay, that's wrong. You can go wrong with that. I suppose you can go wrong with rye whiskey also. I've always had a very heavy respect for tequila, so I've never had too many like insane nights with tequila. But I've had many insane nights with whiskey. Vodka's my I don't need to fucking drink vodka. I just need to stay away from it. It's where the problems start.
Yeah, same.
I'm either crying or fighting or both.
Yeah, I'm a whiskey guy. I like Jameson.
So do you prefer to write in the studio or in the room? And this is each individual preference.
I prefer to write just like in a room.
All the band members present. Just
there
have
been times where we've been practicing and a song idea has come up. Like Baghdad was actually one that I just sort of like on the fly started jamming while we were practicing one time. So it happens both ways, but probably just like by myself.
Anybody else got a preference?
Dude, I like to go to the woods. I don't know why. I just like being in nature,
That's cool.
But when I'm songwriting, dude, I don't like to be around people, because usually I find if I'm just like alone with my thoughts, then I have my own way of sorting them out, and then I can stay in control of like my mindset. You know what I mean? But then what I'd really love to do is write a song and then bring it to the band and then understand when I'm doing that it's like a skeleton and it's gonna be twisted and turned and molded and shaped and everything, and I just have to let it go and then see what it turns into whenever more hands are in it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, it allows you to figure out what you want it to be. Then you allow everybody else to take that image and make it their own. But it gives you the control of what the basis of everything is.
Yeah. And sometimes, I'll bring it to the band and they have better ideas than I did for it. And
Hey,
I'm just like, hey.
That definitely happens. What's some musicians that you admire?
Like of all time, or
Yeah, just
like
in
current
general.
musicians. Or,
Yep.
Okay. In general, probably Jimi Hendrix. Honestly, like I still listen to a lot of Jimi Hendrix.
Understandable.
Lyrically, he was so amazing, and stylistically, he was so fucking cool. And probably him. And he was also like obsessed with recording, which is cool.
Yeah, he played with stereo in a way that we still use today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably the same, like all the classic guitarists, Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Page, lots of Zeppelin in my youth.
Can't go wrong with the classics ever.
Yeah. Carter Buford from Dave Matthews, Neil Peart, of course. One of my favorite artists of all time is Tech Nine, the rapper.
I fucking love me some Tech
Dude,
Nine.
I don't know what it
fucking
is.
The Killer is such a
Dude,
good album.
he's such a good rapper, but he also is like, everything around what he's doing and his songs are just so creatively, like, clever. You know what I mean? I'd message him like a lot just on Instagram, just be like, we should do a song together. Here's this. Listen to it. We'll do a song together. One day it'll work.
He is like one of those guys who has pulled a lot of musicians into the fold. I wouldn't know who Cut Calhoun is, Chris Calico, Brother Lynchong, fucking Mayday, all those people on Strange Music. I know because of him. Fucking that's a really, really talented artist. So what's this first instrument you played?
Guitar. Guitar was my first. I got a guitar whenever I was in like 5th grade, and I took lessons like 2 or 3 times, and then just got really disinterested because
That's my life.
Yeah.
Watching kids, but I actually do have a pretty good retention rate, but like the little, like the 10-year-olds are like, I'm doing this because my mom told me to.
Well, see, I took it upon myself. Like I wanted a guitar, but I just didn't really. Well, wasn't interested in it at the time because I was like really involved in sports, and baseball was my first love. Like it was my first passion, and I really put like most of my energy into that. And I quit baseball when I was 17, and at that point
typically.
I had started playing guitar when I was like 15. Got back into it, and then all of my obsession energy went to guitar, and so. I quit baseball when I was 17.
Okay.
I played violin. That was the first thing I learned.
How old were you?
13, and then I switched to saxophone and then guitar.
I started drums when I was 6, and I just it was up until I think there's a certain point where I was in a band called the Devil's Bards, and we like had our own studio, and we all lived together in the same house, and it was just awesome. And when all that like kind of fell apart at the same time, and I just had this thought, and I was just like, I don't want to stop, and I don't have anyone to play with, but I've always had songwriting ideas, and no one ever listened to them. They never were like used. And I was like, maybe this is the perfect time for me to like just write music and like just try to do that, because like I have all these ideas, and maybe like now no one can tell me not to do them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where it came from.
Nice. What's the first album you can remember listening to on repeat? And I'm not talking about your favorite album that you listen to the most. I'm talking the first one that you can really find in the back of your head. The one I usually give as a reference, so you know how early I'm talking. I got a cassette of Space Jam with my cassette player, and I listened to that cassette over and over and over. So that was the first one that I can really remember listening to. I mean, it might be an album, it might be a cassette, but the first one that really you put on over and over.
The first one that I can remember like really obsessing over was probably It was probably Nirvana. I think that's really what, because I didn't have much of an interest in music until I was about that age. And
What age were you?
I was, I guess I was like 10.
Okay. Yeah, my parents wouldn't let me listen to Nirvana whenever I was 10.
Really?
My mom was way more conservative. Like, I grew up with a lot of country. So, fortunately, I do have a good appreciation of old school country. But, like, I found Christian rock. I was like, hey, look, I can listen to rock, right? and then it just slowly was just like, no, I'm going to, hey, ignore the fact I'm tech death.
Yeah. Yeah. I did really like Creed, but I didn't obsess over it like any other album besides that one.
What about you?
I'll say it. Okay, so I remember hearing Meatloaf, the Bat Out of Hell album, a whole bunch when I was growing up as a kid. My dad had it on cassette, and that was like always our go-to in the car.
My mom listened to a lot of Meatloaf too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
I didn't realize that was the guy who played the dad at the beginning of Tenacious D and the King of Destiny.
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense considering he actually has a pretty, solid pipes in line.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I didn't realize it was Meatloaf.
Yeah. My mom also listened to a lot of Rolling Stones too, actually. I don't think she liked the Beatles.
I would have to say it was a mixture between Hanson's first album. Exactly, yeah. And then right after that, it was Metallica Ride the Lightning.
Yeah, we all rock some Disney Channel. Let's not be ashamed. Of
Oh yeah. I actually got really into the Backstreet Boys.
Oh yeah,
when I was a kid.
like that's what I'm saying. NSYNC kid stuff.
NSYNC,
Like,
yeah.
Oops, I had the Oops I Did It Again CD, and I played the fuck out of that.
Yeah.
But still, Space Jam was the first.
Well, see, I don't know if you remember this, but Burger King, way back in the day, did a thing where they gave you access to this Backstreet Boy concert if you paid an extra amount of money or something. So I got this video thing through this Burger King special, and me and my brother just played that shit on repeat in a VHS tape. And my mom put me in dance lessons for a year, and I got out of it. But I was invested in it, dude. I really
Dude,
was.
I had one with Now 4. It had Blue Dabba Dee Dabba Dabba. All the small things that you're gonna eat too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a good song. Still. Any honorable mentions?
Yeah, definitely want to give a shout out to Diet Craft and Austin. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Oh, we're not done yet. I meant music.
Oh, shout out!
Yeah,
Oh,
any more honorable mentions on
Honorable
your?
mention.
I suppose this would be the dishonorable mentions. But, all right. So, what is song number 3 that we're about to hear?
Song number 3 is called Summer Solstice.
Summer Solstice.
It's from our first album.
How long ago did you write it though?
So that one I think I wrote very quickly before we recorded it. Actually, I think I wrote it
studio tune. Rush. Oh, we need another one. We got.
Well, it just kind of happened.
Sometimes it happens.
Yeah, it just happened. It was really cool, but I think I wrote it 2 or 3 months before we hit the studio. So.
That's awesome. All right, so you're about to hear Summer Solstice. You're still with Posival.
It might save you.
Welcome back to Audio Carnage Podcast. Welcome back to Audio Carnage Podcast. You just heard Summer Solstice. We're still with Posival. So, if you could open up for any band, who would it be? Like, what's your dream band to open up for? Alive or dead?
Alive or dead. I think it would be amazing to open up for Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
I really got into their music for a while. But either them or if I had to choose a second one, probably the Ramones. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That would be a lot of fun.
I was gonna say Tom Petty or the Ramones. Yeah.
Both of those are good choices.
Yes.
It's Dolly Parton all day long.
Yeah, I don't know if she'd be down to open or play for a tech death band, but Dolly, call me.
She would. She totally would. She was like, you know what? Let's do it.
Dolly Parton is a shield that means like the book. Fucking what is that? Metalocalypse. Fucking Squizguard.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that show.
Yeah. Okay. I had a question. I just lost it. Oh my god! I hate when this happens. I have a bunch of good questions, but what's your comfort food?
Comfort food, tacos for sure.
What kind of tacos? That's such a vague.
Chicken
generic.
tacos in particular, but also
Flour, corn tortillas, what?
corn all the way for sure.
Like, are we talking cilantros and onion, or you getting cheese, or what?
Yeah, man, everything. Fucking cilantro, onion, some pico.
Green or red?
Thrown on that. I always go green, but some days if I'm feeling it, I'll go red.
That'd be
dangerous.
tacos.
That's the most dangerous thing about this band.
Burgers. I'm always on the search for like the best burger, you know? And I just always, even if I found it, I'm just like, I haven't found it yet, you know?
Well, there's always another best burger. Like, it's like that is.
And the best burger
Beef
on a
is-
Monday will be different than the best burger on a Thursday.
It's true.
Beef is just a wonderful thing. Like, it really is. I'll do everything to like help do my part in the environment, but I'm not giving up cow. Like, that animal is too delicious. In like ribs, steak, pork chop. Wait, that's a different animal.
Doug?
Alright,
I like soup. Any kind of like homemade soups. Like Zuppa Toscana. Oh, it's so good. With gnocchi in it and
yeah.
sausage.
You made that for me once.
Yeah, it's so good.
Alright, guys, so at this point in time, we can go ahead and give shout outs. Where can we find your band, and like, what is the best way for anybody to find y'all?
Best way is just to go to our Spotify page, really.
Is it just Posival?
Yeah, it's just Posival. We're also on Apple Music, but those are two of the best ways. And then I guess subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is just Posival Band.
Oh, what about other bands that y'all are involved with?
Mine is called Authors of the Air. We could be found on all the social media things, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, other ones that I'm forgetting that you will know.
OnlyFans.
Yeah. Actually, on our link tree we have an OnlyFans and it rickrolls people.
That's funny. That's funny.
That's awesome.
Not bad, not bad. So what about some like honorable mentions for the local scene, as you were trying to do earlier?
Oh yeah, so Diacraft, Austin.
Oh wait, they were on, what was it, season 3?
Oh yeah. She's cool. I actually used to work with her for like 3 years, so that was fun.
Yeah, their whole band is very cool people.
Yeah.
Fucking hard workers.
Also, Justin Casey, former member of the Delzells. He does a side project now too called Market Zero, which is kind of cool. They released an EP a while back, so check that out. And then really you. I mean, thanks for having us, dude. This is cool.
I definitely enjoy doing this. It's, you know, I've managed to manipulate my way into having concerts in my living room, so cannot get wrong with
But I
that.
guess shout out to Aiden since we're here.
Yeah, I miss that motherfucker. He, ever since he moved to Austin, you know, him and his happily ever after.
Right.
All right, so I've been Jared. This has been Audio Carnage Podcast. They have been Posival. We're gonna be out of here. All right, later, guys.